Next up, I will welcome to the screen Dr. Marc-Florian Uth. Mark is the strategic partnerships lead at Synera. He has a background in computational engineering and extensive experience in R&D, enterprise R&D. At Synera, he focuses on applying agentic AI and workflow automation to reduce engineering bottlenecks and accelerate time to market. Today, he will be sharing all his secrets for scaling AI and initiating an AI transformation program. Hi, Mark. Welcome to the stage.
Hello, does it work now?
It does, yes, and your audio is
Awesome.
fantastic.
Okay,
All right, I'll
great.
turn it over to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. And of course, I am very excited to be able to present you in this very interesting group of people. I will talk about scaling AI. It was also discussed before. I will go now a bit deeper into how scaling or how we at Synera would approach scaling and the transformation of agentic AI in a company. And the first question to my opinion should be, why is this even a transformation? Why is it not just another tool we are bringing in, which has some optimization at a certain point in an organization? Why is that more? And I think the reason is quite simple in the end. The reason is that agentic AI is not the only thing. We are talking about multi-agent systems. And if I think about things that Ryan just mentions, it's even more if you look into the future. So multi-agent systems is something that if that joins the workforce of your engineering team, it really changes something because it nearly replicates not only single experts, but also full teams that cover many departments and automate workflows that cover processes of many experts, many departments, and that has an impact on the organization. It does change how we work today. So in this case, the example here, which is quite simplified, is a multi-agent system, which is kind of a design to cost agent system, which is always like the main part you communicate with is a supervisor agent, the design agent who, for example, remote controls CAD systems, a simulation agent who does CFD simulation, manufacturing simulation, FEA simulations, and so on, and a costing agent that accesses databases or costing tools. The result then looks, in our case, like something like this. It is basically also very simplified for the end user, although in the background there's many different agents that access the engineering tools. It looks like a chat interface in this example. It is a design to cost interface where the user now can ask the system to analyze some components. And what you see here is we upload a part and ask the system to do a manufacturing analysis of this component with a certain material. And then what happens in the background, that supervisor that you have seen before now has the option to choose between different agents at hand and passes the task to the first agent that is now a geometry analysis agent and is preparing the geometry for further analysis. Then the supervisor decides to hand it over to the simulation agent who calls a forming simulation and checks the part for manufacturability. So this is automatically decided by the agents who are able to communicate with each other, and it replaces emails, phone calls, or meetings that have happened before. Then the interesting thing is that the result now is it is not manufacturable. It has some undercuts, so this is critical. And here we need to stop and give it back to the human in the loop. The human now can go back to the CAD system with the information out of the agents where the problem is and change the component. In this case, this is done manually. Then it goes back to the same chat and says, please redo the simulation, but now please go a step further and also give me a costing and a CO2 report. And the agents now will decide again to do additionally to the geometry analysis and the manufacturing analysis, also call an agent to do the cost analysis, who then asks for more information. In this case, the country, the number of parts, the energy mix, and so on. Now, this runs through, they come to a conclusion and a solution, and it ends with a final report with a positive impact on manufacturability and also some information about the costs. So this is one example, what we do, what we can do today. We can basically replicate full departments or full process flows with several experts involved. And the second reason, I think, why this is a transformation is that the impact not only on the organization is high, but also on the numbers, let's say. And this is also a reason why I think sometimes this gets stuck in pilot mode because these numbers are so high that it really changes something in the organization. And this is kind of a paradox, right? So we have really great impact. These are some examples from some of our clients, but then it gets stuck. And the reason is that we are not prepared for such a big impact by just a single agentic workflow automation. So what we need to do, I think the main thing is we need to understand what is already working, that we are able to achieve the optimizations, and that is still important. Of course, we do start with a pilot, but then we see what is blocking us is that we don't have the right stakeholders involved now to scale this. We don't have a clear governance, what to do with it, who is now responsible for this system, and how to bring this into production. We don't have that transformation program that now identifies the next things and so on. So we need to really make out of this first pilot, and in parallel to the first pilot, think about what will the impact be and how can we exploit it to the fullest. And now at Synera, what we have done over the past years is that we have learned this quite a lot, and we have started with our first clients to set up such transformation programs to really accelerate this. And we use quite a simple framework, pretty standard framework for transformations, which covers like the strategy and this PMO that drives the scaling. It does put an emphasis on change and people enablement. And then it is also, of course, in the core, the workflow and mass development itself with the technical enablement, but also a work package that covers like does it mean for our process organization, IT and implementation, and what do we need to do to ensure quality not only after the first pilot, but also when we do go from one version to the next. And today, I will not focus so much about Synera and how to build Synera, but more on the things that surround it or need to surround it. So I think what we see at most of our clients and most companies in general is that, well, they are coming from a phase where this was quite new and we started some single use cases. And now what we need to do is bring this into an organized approach with a clear organization, with a use case funnel that is not only the pilot, but also looks at the next steps, a governance. What does it mean? How do we prioritize? What is next in the line? How do we bring something into production? What are the criteria for this? And who are the roles and the responsibilities that really drive this transformation? This is the basics. Secondly, I think what we need to be clear about it is that agentic AI will completely change our organization. And what I really like about this agentic AI is that it will support and make room for the engineers to focus on the creative and innovative stuff. So I think in one very exemplary change will be that in the past we have run in iterations between different experts that brought something to a decision into a committee or something like that. I think in the future we will more go into a world where we have the human above the loop that is controlling one or several multi-agent systems and is still responsible for the result, but has this support, this strong support, and brings this into some decision committee, for example. And this is only a representative picture, but behind that is a change of roles, responsibilities, the full RASI charts that we know, and the full organization. Of course, the backbone of this transformation is IT, quality management, and the governance. And this for me has three pillars plus an underlying part. It's the quality management. We need to know from the beginning on how we judge if a multi-agent systems is ready to go into production. What are the criteria? Where do we need human review gates? How do we ensure that our output is always correct, if it's reliable, and how do we monitor the performance of our multi-agent systems? Second thing is we need a versioning and we need a clear documentation of every single of our multi-agent systems. So we, the building is one thing, but also make it usable for others and make transparent what is the version, what does this system do, make it traceable, and so on. And of course, and this goes along with the or goes back to the PMO. We need something that defines clear ownership, that defines who takes the oversight, and need a risk management for these multi-agent systems. It's not the problem of a single pilot, but if you think of what Ryan just said, if we go bring this into a big production with hundreds or thousands of multi-agent systems running, then we need to have clear risk management in place. And I'm sure a client like Blue Origin that was just mentioned has that in place. And we need a very strong IT that can react to the demands that are coming up by these new technologies. We need the data connectors that need to be built up. On-premise deployment, we need a model management that is driven by IT. The next element that is very important and is often neglected, not only in agentic AI, but in my experience, every transformation program does not enough about communication. So, of course, we need a top-down mandate by the management. That's always key to really success. But we need also bottom-up ownership. We need engineers that are motivated, that are enabled to build this transformation from the bottom up. And with the PMO, we need to organize a strong communication. And that means, of course, establishing a champion network, connect them, enable them with training, enable others who we don't directly approach with some self-onboarding training, so to make this really grow. But very, very importantly, listen to your teams. So we need to establish sounding boards where your organization can speak up about doubts, about chances, about new idea to really drive this information transformation and not get stuck in some roadblocks driven by people that are not really knowing why we do this, how we do this, and how this all fits together, and how they also can benefit from this transformation. So in general, and summarizing, this means that this is agentic AI automation, which is the technology coming from the one side, only is successful if we accompany this with a process on organizational adoption. And this needs to go hand in hand. The one without the other will not lead to a really accelerated and more efficient product creation in the future. So, but how can this look like? And I think agentic AI, it is developing so fast, the technology is developing so fast, and we have shown with Synera that deployment can also be very fast. Just to give you a rough example of some clients that we work with. In the first 6 months, usually we call this a kind of discovery phase where we build the first pilot, but where we already have the first the first impact. We are able in the first 6 months to reduce the workflow time by 90 or even more than 90%. In this case, the objective is more to lay the foundation, to prove that this is feasible, and to work rather with individual engineers. That does not mean that we don't start to think about how our processes are affected and so on, but this is the focus for sure in the beginning. We need to, in parallel, build up a transformation program because then it goes really fast. Then we go from single workflows to full processes that are sped up, um, also by 90%, but it's at a larger scale. Then we need to have defined gate reviews. We need to have the PMO established and so on, because after that we are able to really scale this and not only affect process cycle time, but also the full time to market. And then we reach numbers of ROIs that is above 650%, just for the technology that we implement. It was said before, I think by the presentations before, that it is not the question if you scale, it is the question if you scale or if you do it before your competition. One study, there's hundreds out there that I like to mention here, from BCG, is that those who invest into this transformation do get a lot of benefit compared to competitors. And their estimate is that the resulting gap will be double the growth, 40% greater cost reduction, and yeah, 3.6 total shareholder return. So it's about to start. Our recommendation is, of course, yes, start with first proof of concepts, but also look at all the other dimension of a full transformation program, anchor this in your strategy, and start with a PMO that organizes it, um, demonstrate value. I won't go into detail of every one of these, but in the end, I'd like to mention invest also in your people, in communication with your people. This is very important since this is really changing the organization in the future. So, one last remark. If you want to know more about us, meet us in person. We'll be at the ProStep IVP symposium in April. We'll also present about this certain topic about transformation together with McKinsey in May on Automotive Masterminds. And yeah, if you have further question, if you'd like to dig deeper into this, reach out to me. And thank you very much so far. I think I am still in time, right?
We're good. Thank you, Mark. That was so informative. And you're right, there's common themes happening here where it's not just a technical challenge anymore. It's really this organizational change that needs to happen. I think that people component is kind of the missing link, which is great. That's what everybody's addressing here. Mark, we will see you in a little bit at the panel discussion. You have a couple questions coming in. We'll see if we can grab those during the panel so we can get everybody's questions answered today. Thanks so much, Mark. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.